Hello. Hope everyone's had a lovely day so far. Welcome back to another mini live. Today we are talking about hunger and cravings, why they happen, and what we can do to help manage them. First of all, I just want to say a big shout out to everyone in our May Makeover Challenge. You're all doing a wonderful job. It is so nice to see everyone's positive energy and all of your amazing results just in a few days. It's pretty crazy to see just how quickly the body can adapt to positive changes. So keep it up. You're all doing a really, really great job. If anybody needs any help at any stage, remember you can ask us at any time. You can give us a call or email us, and we are more than happy to help provide support wherever we can. So I hope that a lot of the people from our challenge are listening today, or just anybody really who is either detoxing or thinking about doing a detox, or just generally interested in their hunger and cravings. It's a really interesting topic. It's a very interesting topic, and also quite a complicated topic. So this is going to be in 10 minutes, basically as much as I can cover about the basics of hunger and cravings, a little bit about what you can do about it, but there's definitely a lot to know. So we'll start off with our hormones. So basically, our hunger and cravings are mostly regulated by our hunger hormones, but then also our levels of blood glucose, which is the energy that we derive from the food that we eat. So our hunger hormones, or our main hunger hormone, is called ghrelin. So this one is known as our hunger hormone. It's manufactured in our gut, and it stimulates feelings of hunger. It's basically produced in situations where we haven't had enough food, or we're fasting, or whatever it may be. And then we have a satiety hormone. That one is called leptin. It's actually produced in our fat cells, and it's responsible for helping us to not feel hungry. So for us to feel satisfied and satiated and in control of our food intake. It may sound counterintuitive that our satiety hormone is produced in fat cells, because that would lead one to believe that the more fat we have, the less hungry we're going to be, which a lot of people who've been on any sort of a weight loss journey, or have ever existed at a heavier weight than what they maybe are now, or who has been in that situation where you have excess fat stores, you probably would know that if anything, you're more hungry. And that is actually correct. So there's such a thing as leptin resistance, which basically means that we can have a lot of leptin. We can have high levels of fat that are producing lots of our satiety hormone leptin, but our bodies just aren't able to produce the effects that leptin are supposed to result in. So we can have a lot of leptin, but it's not actually working to make us feel satiated. Another really important factor, like I just mentioned, for our hunger, particularly our hunger and our cravings and our appetite, are our blood glucose levels. So a lot of people would know when you eat something, we're going to absorb the glucose from that food. People may have heard of high GI foods and low GI foods. Basically, high GI means that your blood glucose levels are going to spike and then they'll drop off later, whereas low GI means that it's kind of going to stay a bit more balanced. Now, that's not the only factor when it comes to our blood glucose spike, but basically what we want is a pretty stable blood glucose consistently. It will then begin to drop a little bit, and that's usually when we start to feel a little bit hungry. We have so much control over our blood glucose levels. The order in which we eat, what we're eating, our stress levels, our sleep. There are so many things that come into play when we talk about how balanced our blood glucose is. So let's get into a few of those reasons. First of all, I also want to say that when it comes to managing hunger and appetite, it's a tricky one in a way, because as much as hunger is uncomfortable and it can sometimes make us feel like we will eat the whole kitchen if we're able to, there are actually some amazing health benefits to experiencing hunger occasionally. Controlled hunger, or planned hunger, or a balanced hunger, whatever way you want to reference it. Hunger was actually quite an important part of back when we were cavemen. Because if you think about it, when we were hunters and gatherers, if we were hungry, you couldn't really, crash and just curl up in a ball and stuff your face and then feel better. Basically, you had to become stimulated. So there's actually a lot of research that shows that hunger can help to clarify our thoughts, can help us to be more cognizant, to have high levels of cognition, to have an energy peak, which makes a lot of sense when you think about what would have happened back in the day when we had to hunt for our own food if we were hungry. So there are lots of benefits to being hungry. Also, there is some research that shows that having high levels of hunger can actually affect our metabolism and fat storage. So one day we're going to bring out a blog on this. I started researching and putting this one together, and since then have had a million other tasks to do. There's a lot going on in the world of SBN at the moment, so that one has been put on the back burner, but we will bring out a blog at some stage all about hunger and cravings, talking about why they happen, what you can do to control them, but then also trying to find the balance between experiencing and managing healthy levels of hunger and why that can actually be good for you, the research-based reasons why that can be good for you. So for those who are on one of our detox programs, you will probably be happy to know that our drops and patches do have ingredients in there that are targeted to reducing hunger and cravings. But it is still normal to feel a little bit of hunger in the first week of your detox, in the first few days. For some people, it might be a little bit longer than a week. This is totally normal. All of our bodies go through a slightly different process when we're detoxing, depending on exactly how many toxins we have to remove, what our lifestyle was like before, our stress, our sleep, our food intake, our liver function, our gut quality. There are so many factors that influence exactly how somebody will experience a detox. So if you're experiencing hunger, just know that that's totally normal. If you're not experiencing any hunger and you're wondering if that's normal, it's also very normal. Okay, so like I mentioned at the start, ghrelin stimulates feelings of hunger. This one's produced in our stomach, and leptin is the one that kind of works opposite with ghrelin, that helps us to feel more satiated. So a few techniques to help manage your hunger and cravings. The first one, which may sound a little strange to some people, is to just wait out your hunger. Our hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, they respond to our environment, to the food that we're eating, but they also do have their own natural flow throughout the day. So naturally, our hunger hormones are going to peak around lunchtime. They do tend to peak again around 3 p.m., a little bit later. This is something that we do have control over. We can change kind of the course of our natural hunger hormone fluctuations, but it is really important to know that naturally your hunger hormones are going to go up and then they're going to go down. So if you're experiencing a little bit of hunger, maybe you've just eaten, maybe you're thinking there's no reason I should be hungry. Unfortunately, our hunger hormones can play tricks on us, and it's really difficult then when it comes to the intuitive eating movement. I think it's such a beautiful way to eat, but you really do have to get to a place where your hunger hormones are working in alignment with the rest of your body functioning, because it is actually quite common for people to eat meals and to still feel hungry, even if that meal has technically been everything that their body required in terms of energy and nutritional intake. So really important to keep that one in mind. Unfortunately, we can't always trust our hunger hormones, but definitely we can do the work to get to a place where your hunger hormones do really respond to what your body needs. So wait out your hunger. Your hunger hormones are naturally going to go back down, and you will find it much easier to continue on detoxing or to kind of get that balance back again. When it comes to cravings, there is some research that shows that certain food cravings may be linked to insufficiencies in certain vitamins and minerals, or a increased kind of need. So a really common one is sugar and carbs. This may be linked to zinc, magnesium, or chromium. One that I really like to think of, and I'm sure I've said it on here before, is chocolate. Chocolate is really high in magnesium. So if you're craving chocolate, particularly dark chocolate, it may be that you need some more magnesium. Salty foods, this is often a sign of dehydration. You may need more water. If you're craving things like, and this one probably sounds strange, but I myself do crave things like persimmons, kidney beans occasionally. What's another food that basically those foods are linked to iron. They're really high sources of iron. So sometimes if you ever find yourself craving strange foods, it's really worth looking up what their kind of major nutritional value is, and then having an internal look at what you're eating to see if you do need to be eating more of that. Again, really, it's important to not self-diagnose here. I would only really recommend then changing your food intake to try to have more of a certain vitamin or mineral, not necessarily going on to supplements, because there are some vitamins and minerals that accumulate and store within our bodies, and they can become toxic. It can take a while, but it's definitely something you want to avoid. So if you are really concerned, always good to go and get a blood test. Okay, other tips to help balance out hunger and hormones. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm just going to tell you my favorite two. The next one, I need to come more prepared to these, is Crave Less. It's one of our amazing products. It's a homeopathic spray. It's really simple. It's just a small spray. You spray it twice under your tongue. It has one particular homeopathic ingredient called simonsin, which has a lot of research around it for being able to significantly reduce our hunger and cravings, which then reduces people's food intake. So they found that people who were taking this particular homeopathic ingredient ate less food, and then they had a much healthier weight as well. So Crave Less, it's so easy to use. It's very easy to take with you. It's pretty discreet. You can pop it in your bag if you're going out. Literally 2 sprays twice a day. So it's a very, very easy one to keep on top of. And then my last favorite tip to help manage hunger and cravings is to eat a higher volume of food. So that's not to say to eat significantly more food. That's not me saying you can get over your hunger by smashing a big bag of chips or something like that. All I'm saying is you can continue to consume a very similar amount of energy, but at a higher volume. So there's research that showed that people who ate the same meal nutritionally, it had the exact same amount of calories. This is what I mean when I say energy, had the same amount of calories, but one meal had extra lettuce and cucumber and very, very low calorie foods that take up a high volume of the bowl. So basically they could fill a bigger bowl with the same salad that could fill a smaller bowl. And they found time and time again that the people who ate a higher volume of the same amount of calories or energy felt fuller for longer. And there's other research that showed people who drank smoothies where they literally added more water to the smoothie. So they could drink it out of a bigger glass. It made up a higher volume. They felt significantly fuller for longer as well. So this is such a great hack because it means all you really need to do to help your body feel hunger. It also helps to balance out our blood glucose levels, is to eat a higher volume. And if anybody listening is currently on our detox, if you've done a detox before or you're preparing for your next detox, you will know that we do have a few of those really key high volume ingredients, vegetables, on our unlimited list. So we've made it really, really easy for people to add bulk to their meals, particularly let's say for dinner you were having chicken and veg or something like that, and you wanted to eat more. You wanted to have a big full plate, but your portions only took up a small amount of it. All you need to do is to chuck together a salad with lettuce, cucumber, maybe some red onion, some approved dressings. You could literally make it as big as you wanted and pop it on the side. Either eat it with your meal or before your meal is always a really, really great idea as well, because that greens, particularly greens, but any veg at the start of a meal, research again has shown time and time again that this helps to balance out our blood glucose and we don't get such a big spike. So that is hunger and cravings. If anybody has any questions, if anybody has any of their own personal experience with adding any of those ingredients to their meals, please feel free to share. As I said, we will be bringing out a blog post on this at some stage, but it is on the back burner behind a lot of other projects that we have got going on. But yeah, any particular questions, we can either answer them now or maybe even include them in our blog for other people to reference as well. Okay, once again, thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next